sa taas. Masusugpo lamang ang insurgency pag binalikan natin yung root of the problem. And ano ba yung root of the problem? Parating poverty saka empowerment. So yung sa akin, we have seen na pag maayos yung gobyerno, pag maayos yung economic environment for everyone, lumalaki yung number of insurgents natin. Pag mas maraming upheaval, mas marami din yung insurgents. Pag mas grabe yung pagdurusa, mas marami din yung insurgents. So yung sa akin, dapat mas holistic yung approach sa pagsugpo sa kanya. Hindi pwedeng magde-deploy tayo ng napakaraming pulis o napakaraming militar para masugpo siya. Para sa akin, kailangan balikan mo bakit ba dumadami sila? Bakit ba sila naiengganyo? Bakit sila naiengganyo sumama sa movement? And ito talaga, ang pinagmumulan talaga nito, kahirapan. Ang pinagmumulan, wala silang espasyo para magpahayag ng kanilang saloobin. Yung sa akin, I have always advocated for people's councils in many different parts of the country. Kasi ang para sa akin, yung people's council, siya nagbibigay ng platform para nabibigyan boses yung pinakamaliit. Siya yung nagbibigay ng platform para pag nabigyan ng boses yung pinakamaliit, yung pag-resolve sa mga problema ng napakarami nating hinaharap sa ating bansa ay mas magiging madali pag involved yung tao. Yung pagdedesisyon galing sa baba, hindi galing sa taas.
Thank you. Next question will come from
Madam Vice President, I think ito pong binabantayan ng lahat. Sa ngayon, ating mga mayors namin dito sa Negros, nag-aabang kung ang November 15, meron pa po bang posibilidad na may substitution sa pagitan ninyo ni Senator Kiko?
Sa amin po siguradong wala. Sa amin siguradong wala. Nung nag-file kami, desidido kami tapusin ito. Para po sa akin, yung batas patungkol sa substitution masyadong naabuso. Kaya tayo may mga provisions on substitution kasi these are for very specific purposes. Namatay, nagkaroon ng disability o nagkaroon ng matinding dinaanan na hindi na maitutuloy yung candidacy. Pero hindi dapat ito ginagamit para maglalagay ka ng placeholder. Para pagdating, hihintayin mo hanggang sa pinakahulihan na allowed pa yung substitution saka kapapasok. Para sa akin, mockery ito ng ating election laws na dapat balikan na yung pag-review nito. Dapat hindi na siya ina-allow na nagagamit yung provisions on the election laws para gamitin siya to satisfy political ends. Dapat ang substitution, klaro na nangyayari lang siya for very, very extraordinary circumstances.
Thank you, Bibi Lenny. Next question, please, from Digicast.
Marcos, tinuturo namin yung position behind this. Very happy with that.
Ako, it doesn't make sense. Kung gusto namin siya ipa-disqualify, dapat sana nung laban pa namin ng BP. Saka kung ang purpose ng disqualification para maalis siya sa contest na to, hindi naman kailangan. Naglaban na kami noong 2016, nanalo naman kami na walang ganyan. So sa akin, I cannot comment further on that kasi may pending case and bawal siyang pag-usapan. Pero huwag kami ituro kasi hindi kami ganyan lumaban.
Next question, please.
Of DYRL. Vice, what can you say about the COVID response of the government right now?
Ako, I have been very vocal about it, about the response of the national government on COVID. In fact, I think 2 days ago, yesterday, we came out with our own COVID response policy platform. Since March last year, we have been making suggestions to the national government on how to improve COVID response initiatives. Sa akin kasi, parating binabalik na paninira lang ito sa pamahalaan. Pero lahat na international bodies to assess
COVID response initiatives of many different nations, nakailan na. Parati tayong huli. Parati tayong namamark na we are the least resilient. And this is something that we should not be proud of. Para sa atin, marami nang, nung nag-uumpisa siguro, hindi pa natin alam kung paano mag-respond. Pero we have a lot of best practices from where we can derive a lot of lessons from. Nagkakayanin na lang natin. Halimbawa, last year, I think it was June last year, sinabi ko na sa mga lugar na wala namang community transmission, buksan na yung mga paaralan. Huwag tayong gumawa ng policy na one size fits all kasi kawawa yung ating mga estudyante. Hindi tayo pinakinggan. Ngayon, this is the second school year that our children are out of school. And alam natin kung ano yung effects nito. Halimbawa, pag sinabi natin na pag mataas yung positivity rate, kailangan i-grabe mo yung testing para bumaba yung positivity rate. Hanggang ngayon, ganoon pa din. Parang sobrang stubborn natin. In insisting a lot of things we have been doing and expecting different results. Yung sa akin, the lessons are very clear. The lessons are very clear. Ngayon, mababa ulit yung cases, pero hindi tayo dapat magkampante kasi pag yung cases natin, every now and then magkakaroon tayo ng surge. Sino ba yung kawawa? So para sa akin, ang COVID response ng national government is very wanting. And obligasyon natin na punahin yung pamahalaan kasi ang nagsasuffer naman tayo lahat eh. That is why I always say that if given the chance, if given the chance to be president in 2022, the first thing that I will do is to control the pandemic and mitigate the effects of the pandemic. Kasi hindi tayo makaka-move on. Hindi tayo makaka-move on kung every few months nagsa-search tayo. Next.
Follow?
Sige, quick lang ha. We'll have 30 minutes.
Do you also have in mind to have another debt from other lending company?
Ano yan, sir?
Ang debt natin.
Yung utang?
Oo.
Oo. Alam mo, yung utang is not necessarily bad. Actually, nung nag-start tayo umutang, pag tinignan natin yung debt to GDP ratio natin, meron pa tayong space. If I remember right, nasa 40 plus yung debt to GDP ratio natin. Sabi natin, pwede pang umutang. Pero yung problema ng utang natin, hindi natin nagamit, hindi natin nagastos na tama. Kung nanonood kayo ng Senate investigation, alam natin na umutang na tayo ng umutang, yung corruption at laki-laki pa din. So, anong use ng pagutang natin? Kung yung inutang natin, mapupunta lang naman sa corruption. Pag umutang tayo ng umutang na hindi naman nagre-redound to our benefit, babayaran ito ng mga anak at apo natin na wala naman tayong benefit na nakuha. Pero kung yung inutang natin, ang resulta ng inutang natin na hinto kaagad natin yung transmission, yun yung magandang utang. So sa akin, ang pag-utang is not necessarily bad. Basta control yung pag-utang and yung paggamit ng inutangan ay maayos.
Thank you for that, VP Lenny. Next,
I know have a national program for what you want to see the direction of the country, on the direction of the country, but do you have a specific agenda for Negros? And can you say what you discussed with them?
There are many different things that Negros should be assisted with. Yung number one, yung NIR, the Negros Island Region. I think it was a very important first step when NIR was formed and established because it was an opportunity. It was a big opportunity for both Negros Occidental and Negros Oriental to finally plan as an island, region. Ang daming sinishare ng Negros Oriental sa Negros Occidental na would benefit everyone. Halimbawa, yung natural resources, yung disaster management, yung marami pang ibang mga na-affect kayo as a region. Pero anong nangyayari? Ngayon, balik tayo sa magkahiwalay na region. Yung regional center ng Negros Occidental, iba sa Negros Oriental.
kahit pareho yung disasters na tatama sa Negros Island, iba yung klase ng response na mangyayari dahil magkaiba. So para sa akin, isa yon na pinakamalaking tulong for Negros Island. Na ibalik yung Negros Island region dahil sayang yung 2016 until 2022. It was really a lost opportunity for everyone na naka-take off na sana kayo. Naka-take off na sana kayo to plan as one region, as one island. Pero because yung executive order was passed dissolving the island region, so balik sa dati. Number 2, yung sugar industry. Yung sugar industry, malaki yung problemang hinaharap ngayon. Malaki yung problemang hinaharap ngayon. Maraming mga opportunities na hindi na-take advantage of. Ano ba yung mga issues surrounding the sugar industry? Ang dami. Yung mga targets, hindi pa na-reach. Hindi na-reach yung target kasi kulang yung support from government. Hindi na-achieve yung mga targets kasi, halimbawa, ang presyo ng abono ang taas. Ang presyo ng kuryente ang taas. Maraming mga support services na hindi nabibigay. So, yung para sa akin, mas systemic kasi yung problema. It's not just a function of leadership. Pero really making sure that all the moving parts na malagay siya sa iisang, ano ba, yung sugar roadmap, meron na kayong ginawa na ina-adjust ngayon. Ang kailangan na lang support from government. Halimbawa yung kuryente. Yung kuryente, ang daming pwedeng ayusin sa Negros. Ano ba yung advantage ng Negros Occidental? Negros Occidental is the only province na talagang meron ng vision for a roadmap going to renewables. Pag tinignan natin ngayon, actually may oversupply na. Pero despite the fact na may oversupply, hindi pa din naka-harness yung opportunities na nandito kasi marami pang kailangan ayusin. Halimbawa yung pag-asikaso ng grid, yung pag-asikaso ng mga presyo, ang pag-asikaso ng national policy on it. So, sa akin, I think those three are the top issues that the national government can help Negros with.
The gentleman in blue, may follow-up pa si Carlo.
As a second question, can you discuss what you and the bishop talked about?
Ano yan?
Can you discuss what you and the bishop talked about?
Actually, it was a very candid conversation of where we are now. I'm not really at liberty in discussing the details of what we talked about, but siguro the most comforting thing about that conversation is that yung diocese dito is ready to help. Ready to help, not my candidacy, pero ready to help in addressing the prevailing issues concerning the elections. And that includes propaganda, that includes disinformation that might affect how people will decide. So yun naman yung commitment ni Bishop, na yung commitment niya that the diocese will be very active in helping people discern. Wala naman siyang commitment to help any candidate, and I don't think yung mga religious should campaign for any candidate. Pero just making sure na yung choices ng mga tao ay nakabase sa tamang information. And gaya na sabi ko kanina, that is very comforting.
The gentleman in blue, then after him would be Mitch.
Good afternoon, Gerard de la Peña from TV5. Ma'am, may we ask your thoughts about yung proposal po na gawing mandatory ang vaccination since we're talking about COVID-19 right now?
Sa akin kasi pag sinabi mo mandatory, gusto ba nang sabihin may mga penalties yung ayaw mag-vaccinate? Yung sa akin, parati ako nandun sa instead of penalizing, mas mabuting incentivizing. In the course of all our COVID response operations, we have always incentivized people rather than punish them for not being willing to do certain things. Kanina kinakwento ko nga kinagawin dito na when we were doing our swab caps, the very idea of the swab cap is to do mobile swab testing in communities where transmission is very high. Yung experience namin doon, ang daming ayaw magpa-swab. Kahit exposed sila, kahit may symptoms sila, maraming ayaw magpa-swab. So pag inisip mo na kaagad ang penalizing, parang feeling mo na kasalanan nilang ayaw without really understanding where they are coming from. So, bakit ayaw magpa-swab? Ayaw nila magpa-swab kasi pag nag-positive sila, wala silang trabaho for 2 weeks. Walang kakainin yung kanilang pamilya. And we were able to solve that. I were able to solve that. Nag-incentivize kami. Pag nagpa-swab ka ngayon, meron kang bigas. Pag nag-positive ka, meron kang 2 weeks worth of food supply for the entire family. So ako, mas doon ako sa putting up incentives. Kasi para sa akin, mas malalim yung pinaghuhugutan ng pagsunod ng tao. Rather than sumusunod sila kasi takot silang makulong. O sumusunod sila kasi ayaw nilang makasuhan. Para sa akin, mas empowering dapat lagi yung solusyon.
Mitch?
Thank you, good afternoon. Mitch Picabon, Negros Weekly. Ma'am, in 2016, Negros Occidental delivered a good votes for you. I can recall 600,000 to give you edge against the opponents in that last final counting in the Commonwealth. We are now more than 2 million in the province to vote. Yeah, are you still confident? How do you consider Negros votes?
Ako actually, in every elections, I am never confident. In every elections, para sa akin, I am not entitled to anything. I should work hard for it. Yung sa akin, the sheer number of votes that I got in Negros was a big blessing. But I worked very, very hard for it. Ngayong election, ganun pa din. I am not entitled to anything that I won't work hard for. So sa akin, yung pagbalik ko sa Negros is to show people that I have not reneged on my promises, the promises that I committed to myself to in 2016. And i-offer ko ulit yung sarili ko sa tao. Yung sa akin naman, Siyempre, I pray that I will get more votes. Negros was, I think, in the top, if I'm not mistaken, top 3 or top 5 of the provinces which gave me the most number of votes. And siyempre, I am still hoping that not only will I duplicate that feat, but mas marami pang makuha. And kanina, with the reception that I got from the people, I was telling Sinagog Vito that I never experienced that in 2016. When I won in 2016, while many people supported me, it's a different kind of reception. And the only reason why I'm more hopeful now is nakikita ko yung tao are so invested. Hindi lang ito yung ordinaryong support, pero it's as if people are looking at the 2022 elections as their personal fight. And yung sa akin, if we are able to sustain, this level of energy and passion, we will have a very good chance at it.
Thank you, Mitch. In as much as VP Lenny would like to accommodate all of your questions, unfortunately, I have to give the last question to DYKB because she has another appointment. She will visit the government center from here.
I have only 2 questions. One, the poor is always an instrument of the politician of winning the election. The poor. Even Digong, he said that, no, that he came from the poor family. So my question is, when they presented their platforms of government, all the promises before that, when they're already in the position. So So, what is the assurance of fulfilling the promises? Second question. How do we assert the national sovereignty in the West Philippine Sea, most especially to uphold, or to pursue the arbitral ruling in the international court?
Ako first question, pagdating ng eleksyon, lahat magsasabing mahal ko yung mahihirap. Di ba? Pagdating ng eleksyon, magsasabi, mahal ko yung mahihirap, galing ako sa mahirap, pero pag nakaupo na, wala nang inaasahan. So ano yung assurance? Yung assurance, tingnan natin kung paano niya pinakita yung pagmamahal niya sa mahirap in the past. Madali lang kasing sabihin na mahal ko yung mahirap, pagsisilbihan ko mahirap, pero when you look at the history, wala namang instance sa kanyang buhay na inasikaso niya talaga yung mahihirap. So yung sa akin, hindi lang para sa akin, pero I think dapat pamantayan ito to all the other candidates. Pag nag-claim siya ng ganito, ano yung pagpapakita na gagawin niya? Halimbawa, pag ako sinabi ko na against ako sa korupsyon, kung ang record ko maraming mga questionable transactions, dapat hindi niyo ako paniwalaan. Pero pag sinabi kong against ako sa korupsyon, gaya ng record namin sa OVP, 3 straight years until 2020, unqualified opinion kami ng COA. We garnered the highest audit rating of COA. Pag sinabi kong mahal ko yung mahihirap, tignan kung paano ko minahal yung mahirap nung binigyan ako ng pagkakataon in the past. So yung sa akin, siguro nakakatulong yung media dito to help people to be more discerning. Kasi lahat na kandidato magpa-promise ng anything during the campaign. Yun yung number 1. Number 2, eto, lagi ko na din itong inuulit. Yung pagkapanalo natin sa arbitral tribunal was a very, very, very big win. Pero hindi natin na-harness. Hindi natin na-leverage yung pagkapanalo natin na yun. Kasi yung pag-protect ng sovereignty natin, marami ding different facets yun. And one of those is ma-leverage natin yung win natin na yun. Makukuha natin yung cooperation ng ibang mga bansa. Natulungan tayo to protect our sovereignty. Pero pag tayo, pinaglalaban natin yung sarili natin. Pero pag hindi natin pinaglalaban yung sarili natin, how do we expect other countries to fight for us? Yun yung pangalawa. Ayun yung una. Pangalawa, we should practice what we preach. Ayun sa akin, pag sinabi natin na hindi namin ipapayag na agawin ng iba yung sovereign rights natin, ipakita natin sa pang-araw-araw. Hindi kine-question natin, pero nakikidil naman tayo. And sinusugal pa natin yung resources natin sa West Philippine Sea. So yung sa akin, papaniwalaan lang naman tayo pag nakikita sa ginagawa natin.
Thank you. So that was our last question. Alam namin